A game with history that dates back over a century. And for the 115th time, John, Washington and Washington State met on the gridiron today. The Huskies having those dreams of an undefeated season in mind, and the Cougars trying to spoil it. Here in the Delta Center, it's going to be a crazy day tomorrow as Gonzaga continues to try and defy expectations and defy all logic, really. 9 straight Sweet 16s. We haven't seen it that often in the history of this tournament. The Zags have a chance to do something really special tomorrow here in Salt Lake City.
Just think about how much baseball has changed since 2001. The Montreal Expos were still a team. They were not yet the Washington Nationals. The Boston Red Sox and Chicago Cubs both had decades-long curses at that time that they have since broke. So lots changed in 22 years, but here in Seattle, they're still just as rowdy for baseball. Let's not make it 22 years until we do this again.
And that can only mean one thing, because these guys knew they were in already. That kind of reaction could only mean one thing, which we now know to be true. The Gonzaga women and their 30 wins on the season are staying in Spokane for the first, and if they win, the second round. We have made it to the postseason for the Washington State Cougar men, but before they make their return to the NCAA tournament, they'll play here at the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas. Ensuing drive for the Crimson Hawks. Sam Mitchell gets the pitch, bounces off several tacklers, and he just bullies his way to the end zone. Colville up 2 tutties.
Making a bowl game is so important for a college football program, and there's a number of reasons for that. But maybe one of the most important is that it gives the senior class a little bit more time out on the field before they head into the next chapter of their lives.
Every year you get new players in, you have a few returners, but if there's 1 or 2 players that fans might not know they're getting ready to watch this year, who are 2 that really stand out to you?
The FCS title game, of course, is the destination for this Vandals team. To do that, they will have to get a win tonight and still have work to do after that. It will be a clash of titans inside the Kibbie Dome tonight as the Vandals try to keep this season going with a win and move on to the Final Four of FCS football.
She beat the second-place finisher by an impressive 2 minutes and change. Once again, though, congratulations to all of our Bloomies. We'll see you again next year, guys.
Austin, you going to run it next year?
No.
That was a quick
Immediate
answer.
no. I don't run anywhere. Our matey raised the black flag as the Pirates of Rogers hosted the Highlanders from Shadle Park.
When in this season, was it before, was it during this win streak that you kind of realize you have something really special here?
We can look at the score sheet and see, obviously, a 100-point season for Berkeley County and be like, that guy's got to be good. But what did you as a hockey player see that maybe can take us behind the curtain a little bit of what makes him so good and makes him be able to score essentially at will?
Keep this in mind. WSU returns 4 starters from last season, a team that went to the NCAA tournament for the 2nd straight year, the first time in program history they had ever gone to the big dance in back-to-back years. I have a feeling that they are going to finish above their ranking in the poll.
Gone are the days of Tom Landry, Chuck Noll. If you stick around in this modern NFL for 5 years, that's considered a long tenure, and that's why Pete Carroll's time in Seattle should and will be celebrated, and why he's the greatest coach in Seattle Seahawks history, with all due respect to Mike Holmgren.
There's been tons of great Eastern teams since you've left school, but none of them have been able to do what your squad did in 2010, your junior year, winning the FCS national title. What was so special about that team? What made it so that you guys could win that championship?
At the Northeast 2B, it's going to be an interesting league this year.
You know, as an alum of that league, I say I concur. And tonight, they started league play.
How old were you when you played?
I believe I was in junior high.
Okay.
One and done.
And you didn't come back
I
to
did
play?
not. I was a one and done, but I did not go to the NBA.
40 years ago today, Ryan Sandberg introduced himself to a national audience of baseball fans, which what is now known as the Sandberg game. With 2 dramatic home runs, the Spokane native lifted the Chicago Cubs to a win over their rival St. Louis Cardinals, part of a campaign that would see the Cubs win the NL East and Sandberg win the National League MVP in 1984. So you talk about the destination that the Zags are heading to, Salt Lake City. Of course, you're going to expect to see a good Zags fan turnout. Many Zags fans have probably made that trip as recent as 2019, the last time Gonzaga was there. But talking to Ben Gregg, what you didn't hear was him saying that even if they were playing in Brooklyn, he expected a good Gonzaga turnout.
Coach, you have a laundry list of things going right, but can you speak on the night that Bear Hughes is having really early in his WHL career?
They are thriving off of disrespect, real or perceived, and it's got them headed to their 8th straight Sweet 16. 8 straight Sweet 16s! Are you kidding me? Noah, from Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado for the last time, Austin Getz, SWX. I had a blast this week. Trevor Boone is not hard to locate on a baseball field. When you scan the dugout and see the players smiling ear to ear, you've found him.
He's definitely the guy who brings a team together without really trying to, and it's definitely a good guy to have in the clubhouse.
The Spokane Indians' first baseman didn't always have baseball pegged as how he'd make his living. In fact, the native Oklahoman thought another sport was in his future.
I went on a visit to Oklahoma State. We're on the football field. I saw those guys, and I was like, yeah, that ain't gonna work for me. It is not gonna work for me.
Boone stuck with Oklahoma State, playing baseball for the Cowboys instead. After a successful collegiate career, he was an 18th round draft pick by the Rockies, breaking into pro ball in 2019 and quickly learning the life of a minor leaguer.
The one thing I really remember about is we had a 17-day road trip in a row, no off days. Like driving through the night, getting to the hotel at 7 in the morning, sleeping till noon. It was definitely an eye-opener, but it was so much fun. I mean, you had no worries in the world. You had a bunch of guys going through the same thing, and honestly, it made me like the game a lot more.
And that's one thing about Boone that won't show up on the back of a baseball card, a seemingly unbreakable positive attitude, one that was born right at home.
My mom, honestly, like single mom, two athletes, she kept us going. Like no matter what, no matter the circumstances, it was, if you play the game and you have fun, you just have a good time enjoying it, respecting it, I think it's pretty easy.
After playing in Spokane in 2022, Boone spent part of last season in AAA Albuquerque, just one step away from the majors. But his dream of being a big leaguer would have to wait a little longer.
And then I got told this year, they're like, hey, you're going back to Spokane, like that's where the ABs are. I looked at it as a great opportunity to show my skills versus staying somewhere where I can't, you know? So that's really where I'm at.
And being able to stay positive through what has to be a discouraging experience is something his teammates notice.
He's always happy, always got a smile on his face, and he's always here to work. And it's not fake. If you're ever wondering, that's just how he is. It makes you want to be that way.
And while his journey has taken him on a winding path, Boone's kept with him his smile, a sense of humor, and that love for the game.
I mean, I'm 26 in high A, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still going. I can't help it though. Like I've done plumbing, food truck, security, all that stuff, and I mean, this is what I want to do.
With one big smile on his face. Austin Getz, SWX. There's a beautiful simplicity to the game of bowling that has Spokane's youth falling in love with the sport.
It's just kind of seeing a big heavy object roll into some wood and kind of watch things fall over, I don't know.
It's just fun, and you get to learn so much new things that people that don't bowl don't know about.
And these young bowlers meet here at Lilac Lanes every weekend for something special.
So Saturday mornings, we offer a junior program. We have about 70 kids in our program. It warms my heart because what I'm looking for is kids in all the bowling centers to do the same thing. I want all bowling centers to be full of kids because that's our future.
Yeah, I like the league because it's just a fun atmosphere. It's not really super serious or anything. There aren't crazy parents or anything like a lot of other sports.
One of the coolest parts of the league is that they hold junior bowling tournaments where, depending on how players finish, they receive money that is put into an account that they can access when they turn 18 to be used on furthering their education. Gleason Garski is doing that on a local and national stage. At just 9 years old, he's a phenom and has earned tens of thousands of dollars at tournaments all over the country. But for him, the league in his hometown is about something more.
For league, it introduces you to new friends. You get to be on teams with new friends. It's kind of fun. You really get to teach them and stuff like that.
And that's what the league is really about, friendship.
Me and him bowl together sometimes, but we're going to bowl on the same team this year in league.
Yeah, a little friendly competition between you two?
Yeah, probably.
Austin Getz, SWX.